Welcome everyone, and thank you for attending this morning's FRYfest news announcement. My name is Josh Schamberger, and I've had the honor of representing Iowa City and Coralville and North Liberty in this community as president of the Iowa City Coralville area CVB for quite a few years now. It's hard to believe that it has already been 10 years since the first FRYfest, when really just the city of Coralville desired to just honor Coach Fry on the 10th anniversary of his retirement with the ceremonial renaming of First Avenue to Hayden Fry Way. We created a little bit of programming around that year, like a trade show and a concert that was headlined by one of Hayden's favorite bands, the Charlie Daniels Band. But it was supposed to be just a one and done salute and celebration. And that all changed when 20,000 Hawkeye fans showed up. So every year since, we've welcomed all of Hawkeye football nation here 24 hours earlier for the start of the Iowa football season, when every single fan just knows that we are going to go 12-0 that year. Actually, we did that a few years back, so they knew their stuff. Since that first FRYfest event, this has been a collaboration between the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the City of Coralville, and University of Iowa Athletics. Here to say a few words about this signature annual festival is Coralville Mayor John Lindell. Mayor?
Thank you, Josh. And it's a good thing that they said just be brief, because I don't need notes, and because I had an eye exam today and my eyes are dilated and I wouldn't be able to read the notes even if I tried. But gosh, it was just yesterday afternoon that most of us in the room, I think, were at the Iowa River Landing celebrating the groundbreaking for the new arena project. And Gary Barta made some great comments about the long relationship that the city of Coralville has enjoyed with the university, whether it's the train to the games, or of course FRYfest, or Hayden Fry Way. I mean, it just goes on. The list of collaborative projects with athletics and also with UI Healthcare just goes on and on and on. And it's a great relationship with Coralville. And I think the FRYfest is very similar to the Iowa River Landing, and both continue to grow and only get better year after year. And I think that's so true of both the landing and this event. I can remember that how many different places we've had the concert outside at FRYfest, because the River Landing keeps growing. We move it around to accommodate the newest building since the last time we had it. And the events inside the hotel, the Marriott, only get better and better every year associated with FRYfest. So it's pretty cool. We've been doing this for 10 years. We really know what we're doing. It's really become a landmark event for visitors coming to Iowa Hawkeye games and from the entire region. So it's a great partnership, and let's do it again. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Your support and that of Kelly Hayworth, the city administrator who's here, and the entire Coralville staff is recognized and appreciated by not only the CVB, but certainly University of Iowa Athletics. FRYfest doesn't happen without strong private sector partnership. And for the past 6 years, this has taken place under the leadership of our friends at Midwest One Bank. They are represented here today by Todd Means, Amy Haspodarsky, and this new, very able intern, Tanner. So thank you very much for being here. It's very helpful to have Midwest One and their ongoing support drive this annual economic development initiative, an event that truly does drive visitor expenditures to this community, which directly benefits businesses and area organizations. Our next speaker certainly needs no introduction here. As mentioned earlier, FRYfest was a creation of the CVB, the city, and University of Iowa Athletics. So here to say a few words about this partnership is the Henry B. and Patricia Bree Tippie, Director of Athletics Chair, Gary Barta.
All right. Good morning. It's May and we're talking football already, but that's right. I don't want to wish my summer away, but here we go. Mayor Lindell, I love the tie. I'm always looking for new black and gold. It's always helpful to have one of your community leaders, mayors, wearing that tiger hawk, as you always do with great pride. Yesterday we were on the other side of town celebrating the opening of the arena. The partnerships that we've had in this community, particularly talking about Coralville, the Hawkeye Express, and that part of game day, the Olympic trials, and all the other things we do. It's just this is a great place to live, and there's so many reasons. And that partnership, Kelly was mentioned earlier, Mayor, Josh, all that you do, we really appreciate it. I love the secondary slogan of FRYfest, a celebration of all that is Hawkeye. Truly, when you come to a Hawkeye football game that weekend, it's more than just a game. The games are pretty darn exciting, but it's tailgating, it's riding the Hawkeye Express, it's the Kinnick Magic, and we're adding a few new twists to Kinnick Magic with the new north end zone and putting a Tiger Hawk on the water tower, something that there's a few things that have been on my list of to do since I arrived in 2006. That logo on the Tiger Hawk on the water tower has been something that I know fans have been asking for, so we're glad to finally be able to do that. Family reunions. I can't think of a thing that draws people back to this state from around the country more than a Hawkeye Saturday. Business networking, state lobbying, I know is going on at every Hawkeye football game. So it's so exciting to when FRYfest comes to town, and that idea that I remember talking about 10 years ago, and it just continues to grow. This year's special touch, Coach Patterson is here. And there's a famous picture from 1983, and I think that's part of what we're going to talk about today, and some of the coaches that you're going to see in that picture, and some of the plans related to this year's FRYfest. And then finally, the one thing, and I hope I'm not stealing thunder on this one, but I think we're the only Division I program, major program in the country that has had back-to-back 20-year head coaches with Hayden Fry and now Kirk Ferentz. And interestingly, in addition to Donnie being in that picture, Kirk Ferentz was in that picture from 1983. So this is, it's always special to celebrate this event. I think it's going to have an even more special feeling, and we're so proud of what Hayden did and what Kirk has continued. So again, I don't want to wish my summer away, but I am very much looking forward to that first weekend of football season in FRYfest. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. And you'll also see on that slide another exciting part of it is the partnership that we've had with the Iowa Soybean Association, and their real sponsorship of that first game is going to be great. They're also a big part of FRYfest, and they're going to be helping us with that coaches coaching tree that Gary referenced that Monica will speak to shortly. So obviously, being the president of the CVB, I get a lot of credit for a lot of these events, and I don't deserve really much of any of it. We have a person on our team, several on our team that have continued to inspire all of these events to achieve really great results. She's fresh off of putting on the first ever corridor marathon in Run Crandick that brought out over 3,000 people to run into this stadium from Newbo in Cedar Rapids. No clue what they were thinking, but they had a lot of fun, supposedly, and it turned out to be a great, great event and another collaboration and partnership with UI Athletics and the communities. So I want to welcome Monica Nieves, who's our Director of Special Events, who's truly to credit for all the success we've had here and will continue to have this year at FRYfest. Monica.
Thank you, Josh. We are just under 110 days away from the 10th annual FRYfest, and I'm delighted to share details about this year's event with you. Before I do that, I'd like to thank our interns who will be preparing this event all summer. Kristen Mathis, Alex Ryer, and Katie Ellers will be helping with logistics, programming elements, and marketing the next few months, and I know this event wouldn't be possible without them. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our sponsors and committee members that are here today. They help us to pull off every detail, and we appreciate their continued support of our community. The 10th annual FRYfest will be a celebration of the past 10 years of the event and a celebration in honor of Niall Kinnick's 100th birthday. August 31st will be filled with programming staples, a panel featuring the 2018 Hall of Fame inductees, the world's largest Hawkeye trade show, a Hawkeye product showcase, and a pep rally. The High Porch Block Party also returns this year, complete with the Kids Zone, Bags Tournament, food, and main stage entertainment. New to this year's event will be the High Porch Block Party Happy Hour that will also include entertainment, games for the whole family, and drink specials. The Pork Tornadoes are returning to FRYfest and will headline this year's concert. Over the past year, the Pork Tornadoes have gained a huge following and have toured across the United States. Their website states they'll be hashtag your girlfriend's favorite band, putting their unique spin on popular songs from Justin Timberlake to Sublime, played by good-looking, well-mannered men who like Guinness, Cedar Ridge whiskey, and may or may not have beards, promising an eclectic show for all ages. We're excited to welcome Pianopalooza as the opener of this year's concert. Led by best friends Tony Bonkamp and Jerry Lawrenson, Pianopalooza is a dueling piano band backed by a full band. Their repertoire features a variety of genres and hits from bands like the Beatles to the Zac Brown Band, and will set the vibe for a fun night in the River Landing. As in years past, the concert will conclude with a beautiful fireworks display, wrapping up what promises to be a memorable day celebrating all that is Hawkeye. Our concert tickets will go on sale June 1st and will be available at the Johnson County Midwest One Bank branches, the Iowa City Coralville Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Coralville City Hall, as well as the Coralville Hy-Vee. Niall Kinnick would have turned 100 years old on July 9th, 2018, and we are excited to plan a few celebrations prior to FRYfest in his honor. On Saturday, July 7th, the FRYfest team will journey to Adel, Iowa, to host a birthday party for Niall Kinnick in partnership with the Adel Partners Chamber of Commerce and the Adel Historical Museum's opening of the new Niall Kinnick Wing. Complete with cake and a rendition of Happy Birthday, we're looking forward to celebrating with our friends in Central Iowa. Additionally, we'll be sending the students and faculty at Niall Kinnick High School in Yokosuka, Japan, a birthday treat in honor of the Heisman winner. I'm also thrilled to announce our panel guests for this year's FRYfest. Hayden Fry's 1983 coaching staff will return to Iowa City for FRYfest and the opening game on Saturday. I'd like to thank our friends at the Iowa Soybean Association for making this possible. This staff is primarily responsible for resurrecting Hawkeye football and is known as the greatest coaching tree in the history of college football. They will be joining us for a panel emceed by Gary Dolphin and Phil Hattie on Friday afternoon. It's an honor to welcome them back and to attempt to recreate this historic photo. I, of course, wasn't around in 1983, so it's my pleasure to introduce Coach Don Patterson to share his firsthand memories of what the 80s meant to him.
My eyes haven't been dilated, but I'm retired now, so I can't see very well either. Thanks to Monica, Josh, and the staff for their decision to honor the 1983 Iowa football staff. I'm extremely honored today to represent that old staff. When Josh first contacted me, his concern was if the coaches get a piece of mail from CVB, then there might be a chance the mail doesn't get properly read and properly understood. So his request was that I call up the coaches in advance of that mailing, and I was glad to do that. I was honored that he would ask me to do so. I want you to know the typical response from our coaches was only 2 words: I'm in. And it doesn't surprise me that they feel that way because it's been a long time since we've all been together. Several of us only finished coaching a couple of years ago, and in many cases, the coaches have not had a chance to come back to Kinnick. Some of them live in Florida and Texas and Oklahoma and places like that, so it's not necessarily easy for them to get here. But they're going to be here on the 30th and the 31st and the 1st in all but one case. Coach Alvarez does have an issue. Wisconsin has a game on Friday night. I'm pretty sure he needs to be at that game. I believe ADs need to be at their football games, don't they, Gary? So he'll miss Friday night for sure. He'll miss Friday afternoon for sure. But he's either going to be here, I think it's safe to say he'll be here either on Thursday night for a private staff dinner, but maybe more importantly, we're trying to persuade him to come up on Saturday. It might not be as convenient for him to show up on Saturday, but I think we can talk him into it. So it's going to be exciting for all of us because we literally haven't seen each other in a long, long time. Several of us, of course, are right here locally. And I know I feel a lot like Lisa does. When we were thinking about where to go in retirement, we gave it a lot of serious thought, and we have a lot of wonderful friends in Macomb. Spent 11 years there, had a great experience there. There was an argument to retire in Macomb, but we kept comparing it to Iowa City and the 20 years of friendships that we have here in Iowa City, not to mention Big Ten sports, not to mention a hospital that's already saved my life once. They might have to do it again. And performing arts. My wife loves performing arts, and I've fallen asleep several times in Hancher. But let's not dwell on that. She'll never forgive me for falling asleep when Brooke was dancing in the Nutcracker, but I've been on the road recruiting, and I was tired, and it was nice and warm in Hancher that day. Someday she'll forgive me, maybe. A little bit about that staff. I know some media members have asked me, can you explain why you had such success as individuals when you left Coach Fry? And I think the response has everything to do with Coach Fry. We learned a lot of things from Coach Fry. I learned so much about motivation from Coach Fry. Years later, 1 year after I'd been at Western Illinois, I called him up on Christmas Day and I said, Coach, you need to know this. Those stories you told at Iowa, I'm telling them at Western Illinois, and they still work. And he was a master motivator, and I learned a lot about motivation from him. I also learned from Coach Fry, we all did. We learned how to treat young men. You treat them like you treat your sons. You know, it's what we always call tough love. You're not going to be easy on them. You're not going to be their buddy, that's for sure. But you're going to explain to them what you have to do to be a responsible young adult. And you're going to show up as young men, but you're going to leave as men. And you're going to be prepared to take on the real world after your experience at Iowa or Western Illinois or Kansas State or Oklahoma, Wisconsin before Barry retired. All those places come to mind. So I'm very grateful to Coach Fry. I want to publicly thank Coach Fry for giving me an opportunity years ago. He always said, I was always intrigued by a guy that would take a 90% pay cut to go to work for me, and I did that. I made $3,500 my first year in coaching. Of course, back then you could buy a really nice car for $3,500 too. But that wasn't a lot of money, but none of us ever did it for the money. You know, we did it because we had a great experience in athletics, and we wanted to pay it forward and be that same kind of positive experience for other young people that deserve that same kind of opportunity. So that's kind of how it unfolded. I'm proud to say this. I think the fact that we won in year 3, I think that's still the fastest turnaround, I believe, in the history of the Big Ten. And of course, we're all proud to be part of that. We're all great friends to this day. Not that we agreed in all areas of football or all areas of life, but we all have so much in common. You know, we showed up, and the thing I learned even way back in the 80s, actually before then, even in the Army back in the 70s, it's amazing how much you can accomplish when no one's too concerned about who gets the credit. And that's the mentality that the staff had years ago. Let's see what we can accomplish. Let's understand that this is all about team. Years later, when I was at UConn, I got all the quarterbacks together and I said, please understand, it's not about you, it's not about you, it's not about you, it's not about me, it's not about Bob Diaco, it's all about team. And I learned from all those years in locker rooms after games, after a big win, an old experienced coach is looking around the room to see who's not happy, because that's very, very telling, because that suggests that they're not team players. And thankfully, Kirk here at Iowa has a lot of team players. We had a lot of team players in all of our years. That's the key to success, is everybody pulling on that rope all in the same direction. And that's what made us successful years ago, and that's what makes Iowa football successful to this day. So I've probably talked a lot more, maybe, Josh, than what you expected out of me. But that's the price you pay. Since I can't read any notes, I talk off the cuff, and maybe that's a good thing, maybe not. But I'm thrilled to be here to represent our staff. We're all excited about being back at the end of August to kick off the new season. And thanks to all of you for being so supportive of Iowa football. Thank you again.
You could have went on for another 10 minutes, Coach. I told you were the star of the show, which is why we had you closing. You know, I think when you go back to that photo, if we can for a sec, I don't know who's got the clicker there. You know, I think the other thing that's pretty special about this is what could happen on that first home game with Kirk and Coach Ferentz and 144. I think it'll be a pretty special moment for Kirk to know that, where he kind of started, and the whole crew here is there to kind of celebrate with Coach Ferentz and the Ferentz family here. We got to take care of business that day, and I know he would say that's a big, tough opponent, but I'm confident in Coach Ferentz, as are all of you. In closing, I want to again thank Monica and her team of interns who are in the back for all the incredible work. I want to thank the Iowa Soybean Association for their assistance again with FRYfest and helping us bring back these coaches and their spouses this year, and really just the overall great support that they provide the Iowa Athletic Program through their first game sponsorship. Again, thanks to Midwest One Bank and our great friends and partners at City of Coralville, Mayor Kelly and Gary and all of the athletic staff. And lastly, thanks very much to Coach B for his ongoing assistance and support of FRYfest, of Coach Fry, of Coach Ferentz, and all things Hawkeye. You truly are a terrific friend to this university and our community, and we couldn't be more proud to welcome back your coaching fraternity here and to celebrate them. Something that is probably a little long overdue on our part, but we're going to get it right this year, and it's going to be a pretty special moment. It helps, too, that some of those guys decided to retire, and they can come back. So that'll conclude today's sort of news conference. I know everybody will stick around if you have any questions. Thanks very much for attending. Have a great day, and as always, go Hawks.